José Mourinho faced boos from the crowd before the match at San Siro, which was expected given his ties to Inter. The disapproval from AC Milan fans was anticipated, but what stood out was the criticism Roma faced from their own supporters after a 3-1 loss. Notably, Mourinho, serving a suspension, was absent for the post-game backlash, reflecting a notable change in sentiment and marking the likely conclusion of his tenure with Roma. But what reasons lead him to get sacked? Faith turned to skepticism. Mourinho arrived at Roma hailed as a savior, celebrated like a deity, and validated fans' trust with a European trophy in his first season. Despite concerns about playing style and dissenting voices, he was revered. Over the past 6 months, some unwavering supporters turned into skeptics, as the third season syndrome plagued Mourinho's managerial career, evident in Roma's struggles during the 2023-24 campaign, revealing internal issues. Roma is facing a profound crisis. Following their defeat at San Siro on Sunday, Roma sits in the 9th position in Serie A, having won only one of their last 6 league matches. Additionally, they were eliminated from the Coppa Italia by Lazio last week. The pressing question is whether José Mourinho, a 2-time Champions League winner, is still the right person to guide Roma through this turmoil. Prior to the Milan match, rumors circulated about Roma's American owners, the Friedkin Group, contemplating Mourinho's dismissal and considering club legend Daniele De Rossi as a potential interim replacement. Post-game, there were claims that Mourinho had expressed a willingness to resign, feeling that his players were no longer following his instructions. Exhausting team discussion. Mourinho had acknowledged prior to the Milan match that he conducted an intense team meeting following the derby defeat, where certain individuals faced strong criticism. Despite his belief that some players weren't fully committed, he opted not to publicly disclose names, expressing overall satisfaction with the effort from a squad he deemed stretched thin. The crux of Mourinho's concerns lay in his perception that he lacked sufficient resources to compete for a top 4 position in Serie A. He consistently emphasized the team's injury woes, particularly those involving Paulo Dybala, recognizing that Roma significantly differs without their skilled number 21. Injuries can't vanish magically. Certainly, many would contend that heavily depending on a player with a notorious injury history was a disaster waiting to happen. However, Roma's lack of squad depth allowed Mourinho to revisit a recurring theme he brings up when facing criticism, that he is a victim of his own success. Last week, he argued, "We're 4 points off a target, Champions League football, that, if it weren't us, everyone would say is an impossible target. If you compare the potential of teams expected to finish in the top 4, you can't equate them to us. But this is Roma, with the most incredible fans, and with a coach known as José Harry Potter Mourinho, not José Mourinho Felix, whose name inherently raises expectations and demands." Roma's dismal point tally. Mourinho rightly highlighted Roma's substantial injury woes, with 9 players absent in Milan. However, their rivals for a top 4 spot have faced their share of injuries this season. He has also emphasized the constraints posed by financial fair play, FFP, on Roma. As reiterated last week, the Giallorossi can't match the spending power of clubs like Manchester City or Chelsea. Nevertheless, other Serie A teams and coaches are achieving better results with fewer resources. It's notable that Fiorentina, Lazio, Bologna, and Atalanta have accumulated more points despite Roma having the 3rd highest wage bill in Serie A. There's no lower point. Mourinho undeniably performed well in challenging circumstances during his initial 2 seasons at the Olimpico. However, he should not bear sole responsibility for Roma's current troubles. The impending departure of sporting director Thiago Pinto next month is unlikely to be mourned by many fans, considering the more disappointments than successes in the transfer market over his 3-year tenure at Roma. Even his notable signings, like Dybala and Romelu Lukaku, are now being reassessed due to Dybala's persistent injury concerns and Lukaku's reputation for going missing in crucial matches. Mourinho's request for increased support from the club, particularly in managing media interactions, went unanswered. He expressed feeling overwhelmed for an extended period, as if handling 3 or 4 roles simultaneously. Regardless of how his tenure concludes in the capital, Mourinho is set to leave a significant impact. Securing victory in the inaugural Europa Conference League, he brought Roma their first piece of silverware in 14 years and their first continental trophy since the 1961 Fairs Cup. Additionally, his team came close to winning the Europa League last season, reaching the final and losing in a penalty shootout. It remains to be seen where his next destination will be. Meanwhile, continue supporting us and don't forget to subscribe and share our channel.